in two of these last 3 games. Whoever wins it, though, I think will be the favorite against the Heat because, look, the Sixers, if it were to be them, what will that have to mean happened in these two of these last 3 games? James Harden's going to have to continue to play at this level, maybe not 45, 47, but he's going to have to be not just average. He's going to have to be great. So if they get through this series, well, that means he must have been at least 2 of those games. So now you have a situation, you're dealing with a team that's so unique in the bases you have to cover. You've got this unstoppable, dominant big in Joel Embiid who just overwhelms you all over the floor. And the Heat play small lineups all the time. 2 of the favorites to win the East. Meanwhile, the Heat have been defying the odds and are just 1 game away from the Eastern Conference Finals. Now we got Legs back with us. And Stephen A., should the Celtics-Sixers winner still be favorites to win the East?
Absolutely. I think so. I mean, I'm not ignoring what I'm seeing from the Miami Heat. But in the same breath, the problems that they pose for the Philadelphia 76ers, that they pose for the New York Knicks, I think would be a different animal if they were playing against Boston or Philadelphia. And so for me, when I look at particularly Boston, with Tatum, with Brown, with Smart, with White, with Brogdon and others, even Horford to some degree, you can't leave him open on the perimeter to shoot shots. He can hit those shots. I'm of the mindset that Boston should still be the favorites coming out of the East. I still have them winning this series against the Philadelphia 76ers, and I'd have them meeting Miami, assuming they met Miami in the conference finals.
Yeah, I would agree with Stephen A. here. I think the winner of this series are the favorites in the East, and that's not to discredit the Miami Heat and what they've done, but we brought up the Knicks' three-point shooting as a big crutch in this series against the Miami Heat. And if you look at the 76ers and the Boston Celtics, 76ers, number 1 team in the league this season in three-point percentage. They play off Joel. They play off James Harden. The Boston Celtics, number 1 or number...
This series going back to altitude and no Chris Paul, so Devin Booker having to shoulder some point guard responsibilities as well as scoring the basketball, I just don't see it. I think with the Sixers, they have a much better chance at playing the Boston Celtics even because we've seen late in games that the Sixers... from an execution standpoint, have been a little bit cleaner than the Boston Celtics have.
It would be impressive to me if the Suns got to a Game 7 right now.
Wow.
That's how I feel about it.
It's almost by default. It's almost by default you have to go with the Sixers.
Yeah, and I think the Suns will find a way to get to a Game 7, but I don't think they're winning tonight. And with the Sixers, while I give the Celtics a slight edge, it's not a very big one.
No.
And it's primarily because, crunch time, they stink.
And we got to give credit to James Harden and his shot-making late in games.
Show up tonight, though. Let's not have this be an off night.
But if he does show up, then we can start to move on from that narrative about James Harden not playing big in the most important moments.
Tuesday on Fitz and Harry, the Lakers take Game 4 and are 1 win away from the Western Conference Finals.
Plus, we'll tell you if the Celtics can fix their issues before it's too late.
Ooh, Fitz and Harry Tuesday, noon Eastern on ESPN Radio and watch on the ESPN app.
It's Harden to make him less efficient and cool his jets a little bit, and then Boston gets through. And you still now have the team that I think is the deepest team left in the Eastern Conference, the team that still has 2 legitimate stars at the top and 1 superstar at the top. So, yeah, I think it would be a reach to say, oh, because of now the way Miami has looked against, Milwaukee, who didn't have Giannis for 2.5 games, and now a New York Knicks team that is pretty much tapped out in terms of their top-tier talent. Now you're going to make that leap and say they can be better than the Boston Celtics or the Philadelphia 76ers in the next round. I don't buy it. I think the winner of that series should be the favorite to get to the finals.
I will say that. I agree with you. We all agree, but I will add this little nugget of intel. 4 of 20 from deep over the last 3 games. That's Jason Tatum. That won't beat Miami. I'll admit that. That won't beat Miami. Again, we're assuming that Boston is going to resemble the team we've been watching them be all season long. That team should be the favorites, but not a team that Jason Tatum is struggling from deep over a 3-game stretch in the postseason the way that he has. That you have to be mindful of. That won't get it done against Miami.
Well, we're going to take a quick break and pivot from the East to the West because coming
up. Team, are you more confident in winning? The Sixers or the Suns in these 2 Game 5s with the series even at 2 apiece? What do you got?
I'm going to go with the Sixers. And I know that's a tall order, But when I look at the Phoenix Suns, I just listen, man. To win 3 in a row, whose run has been more impressive during the playoffs, Jimmy Butler or Devin Booker?
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to go with Devin Booker just because you're talking about right now what we're watching in Devin Booker. Every single night, he's given us something that we can't really believe what we're seeing.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy Butler, yeah, he's been sensational, but Jimmy Butler's also had great postseasons before, and he hasn't had every night these monster scoring games that Devin Booker's putting together. The efficiency with which he is doing it on every level, he's so hungry looking as a scorer right now, and carrying it, pulling it off. He literally is. I mean, I'm not comparing him to Michael Jordan or Steph Curry, but when you look at some of these incredible playoff runs, like those guys have had, like a Dwayne Wade when he won it, pre-Shaq, like when they just literally control and dominate every single game and there's no answer. That's what Devin Booker is doing right now. So I'd probably go with Book because now I'm expecting it. 35-40. Like that's the baseline now for Devin Booker. It's incredible.
The Knicks.
I can't see it. There's a lot of teams down 3-1, and you say, okay, don't write them off yet. The Warriors are in that boat. That's just foolish to write off a team that's been in 6 finals and has been in every single situation imaginable. They're not going to be fazed by anything they see, right? Until they're finally dead and gone in a series.